Hey y'all, I'm your host, Aaron Smith of the Offshore Marine Service Association. Each Friday, I'll bring you the Offshore Briefing, a quick rundown of the week's notable developments, updates, and news you need to know in the offshore space. Whether you're on deck or at your desk, we're glad you're here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Maritime in America, the Offshore Briefing. As always, I am your host, Aaron Smith, President and CEO of the Offshore Marine Service Association. And with me, as always, I have my co-host, Ashley Smith and Angel Johnson. How are y'all doing?
Just great.
Doing well. It's been a while.
It has been a while. And wait, U.S. is playing tonight, right?
I'm
wearing a Holland hat.
Ashley is wearing a Holland hat.
But I think the United States is playing tonight. They're not playing Holland.
No, Holland plays Tunisia.
Yeah.
If you didn't know,
I would love to go to Tunisia.
Ashley and I have long been fans of the Dutch orange and soccer. And
maybe that's why I like University of Tennessee orange now.
Yeah, we love to jump from the left to the right.
I'm not really jumping these days.
And I've always wanted to follow the orange bus to a game. So, and our friends at Z-Bridge gave us some great Holland merch. So thank you guys. Reach out.
And my friend found the bus. She's in Kansas City right now. And she said she ran across 3 lanes of traffic because she found the bus. Do you know what the bus is?
Well, I was actually going to take it a step even further back. I thought that the Highland merch was like a new member.
Shut up. That's funny.
No, they are great. We get to see Z-Bridge every once in a while. They got a great kind of walk to work solution.
Yes, USA plays at 9.
Yeah, no,
Shoot.
Yes, their name is. I'm sorry, you would ask that, but I didn't answer yes.
So I can watch both 6 and then 9. But let's be honest, I'll be asleep.
Yes, U.S. versus Turkey.
Yes.
And yeah, the Dutch have already gotten out of group, so they broke a bracket. All right. Well, what are we going to talk about today?
I am going to talk about the very unnecessarily long and confusing CG 5PC policy letter 01-26 that was sent on June 2nd. And I will be sending the membership a detailed email giving a layout of what it says, which basically all it says is expect to broaden your what critical OTIT is and broaden your inventory of assets. Literally the 9 pages, that's the biggest takeaway.
So it's telling industry broaden what
you think are your assets that are critical, broaden it is basically what it's saying. And twice it does say it provides a very clear asset inventory. I'm like, why can't you just done that from the beginning of what people should look at? And then my favorite part is they talk about what maybe could be in there.
It's like in Veep when
maybe it likely should be. Okay, well, how can it be likely? Again, my biggest takeaway, do not quote me, I am not an attorney, is like I tell our members all the time when they're designating their CISO or designating who is, what is it called?
Key personnel.
Key personnel. Thank you, Aaron. Yeah. I've been in this, is document. As long as you have documented who it is, why it is, what they're doing, that's all. That's the most important part of it. But it is an overwhelming thing to read. So I've tried to break it down and dumb it down as best as I can.
And we'll also be updating our checklist.
Correct.
This information as well.
Yep.
Well, good. I was going to say it's like in Veep when they bring in the old guy who's supposed to be to be like a Jim Baker, and so he's going to Nevada.
Yes.
And he goes, "How many lawyers do you have in Carson City?" And the person goes, "Double it." That's what the Coast Guard is doing,
basically. But and the funniest part is they tell in this policy letter, they tell you to expect to be able to answer these questions and and your risk. Like how much you have to assess your risk. Like how much are you willing to risk for this business, basically? And again, as long as it's documented. But it's just funny because it's telling you that to broaden it all, but it could be a maybe,
Yes.
So I'm sorry to scare you all with that, but it is what it is.
Well, I wanted
which is super boring and not as fun as whatever you're going to say.
so I wanted to talk about some people in the industry were surprised this week. I don't know why people were surprised, but this week our good friends at API. I'm not exactly sure what the A stands for because it's certainly not American,
But
but
we do have friends at API, for the
they
record.
are. I said they were good friends. I just don't know what the A stands for. Um, like maybe it means a petroleum institute, like just generally, like not the petroleum institute. It's just a
Could be.
petroleum. It's certainly not. But I kind of saw two things connected to the Jones Act waivers and the API. And again, I don't know how I was surprised. Some people were surprised because API said recent market disruptions have demonstrated that the use of targeted Jones Act waivers can help strengthen fuel availability, improve market flexibility, and reduce consumer exposure to supply disruptions. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit.
Did we see that happen?
No, none of that
No.
happened. It wasn't targeted. There was no more market flexibility. All you did was take jobs from Americans and give them to foreigners in America, and consumers did not see a reduction in the price. So what API is saying is that they should improve the Jones Act waiver process. I am shocked that improved in this document is not in quotes. Improve the Jones Act waiver process to enhance speed, transparency, and execution during periods of prolonged market. So, transparency, that's great. Do they want to be able to show more clearly that these are Chinese owned or constructed vessels? No. Do they want to show what price the foreign vessels are being used at? No. Do they want to show that these people are making less than minimum wage while working in the United States? No. Do they want to show that these people are paying no taxes? No. What they mean instead is that they want to set a market-based, what they call a market-based trigger that would audit anytime the price, and they don't say of what, just the price or the fuel level, and again, they don't say what fuel level they mean, goes below or above a certain level, the Jones Act just gets waived. Now, I found this really, and I'm going to Charlie Day this here and connect this to something else here. I found this really interesting because I also saw an article that says it was a Wall Street Journal article. Trump, frustrated with high gas prices, channels Biden's criticism of big oil. And what it shows is that, hey, even though the war ended, prices did not go down as was expected. Instead, the oil companies are keeping the price high and, making additional extra profits off of the tail of the crisis. So what the president has done here is the president has asked the Department of Justice to look in and see if there's price gouging that has happened because of the big oil. So the people who are price gouging consumers are, by manipulating the market, are then going to be trusted to not manipulate the market to cause a Jones Act waiver to be issued under their proposal.
I get so confused by all this.
This is why they can't,
We can't have nice things.
Exactly. I was going to say this is why you can't trust them, but you're also right. This is why we can't have nice things. They have just shown they do not want to use Americans, regardless of the cost or regardless of the reason. They just want to use foreign nationals because they get paid $3.10 an hour while working in the United States. That's what they want. That's what they want to do. So I think we're going to be putting something out on this because it is, like I said, I'm surprised that other people in the maritime industry are surprised API, Petroleum Institute, is opposed to the Jones Act because it's been fairly clear. I
Yeah.
mean, they sided with CBP in our suit against Jones Act,
Yeah.
against the Jones Act loopholes that CBP has illegally created.
I mean, you can want to be positive, right? There's certain politicians that do certain things that I keep saying, well, maybe they'll change, but I'm not surprised when they don't.
Yeah. Yeah, those people are Charlie Brown and are still surprised when Lucy pulls the football away.
I mean, I'm too young for Charlie Brown, but I'll go with it.
All right, Angel, what do you have?
Hopefully something positive. Wah, wah.
I think it's positive. So there were a lot of tornadoes last week.
Correct. When we left our daughter alone.
Which means we are officially in hurricane season. So with the pictures I've been seeing, I don't know about the Mariners, but it frightens me. They're probably used to it. So I just wanted to remind all the Mariners to stay safe and be prepared. I wanted to briefly mention 3 cases and the lessons learned from them. This is just like an awareness because some of the cases, the crews did many things correctly, but by the time they've done all of the actions, the margin of error was already gone. So the first case involved a vessel operating in the North Sea. Weather conditions were deteriorating and the crew recognized the risk. The decision had been made to suspend operations, but the recovery of the equipment from the seabed took longer than expected. Therefore, before the vessel could safely disengage, sea conditions worsened and the vessel was forced off position. And the lesson learned here was that making the right decision was only part of the process. Once the conditions began to deteriorate, delays matter. The sooner we execute a suspension or departure plan, the larger the safety margin remains. So we want to remember that. Another case involved another vessel operating in strong currents. The vessel remained within the limits initially, but changing environmental conditions caused the thruster loads to steadily increase. So as conditions continued to worsen, the vessel eventually lost positions. And then the takeaway from this is that environmental limits are not goals to work up to, but the rising thruster loads, increasing currents, and worsening weather should be treated as early warning signs instead of something to be ignored until the alarm sound off. Lastly, another DP vessel continued operations while already operating with reduced redundancy. The situation was considered manageable until a second failure occurred with less backup and capability available. The vessel's ability to safely maintain position was significantly reduced. So the lesson here is one abnormal condition should never become the normal. When redundancy is reduced and weather conditions are worsening, risks increase much faster than people realize. So the common thread in all of these is that weather is not the surprise. The warning signs were already there: increasing winds, changing currents, rising thruster loads. There are two other reminders worth mentioning as we move through the hurricane season. First, remain vigilant even when leaving the site, because sometimes challenging situations occur during departures when crews shift their focus from operations to exiting. So just remember, the job isn't over until the vessel is safely clear. Second, know your vessel and understand its limits. Forecasts are important, but so is understanding how your vessel will respond when conditions begin to deteriorate. So as we move throughout the hurricane season, just pay attention to the warning signs, communicate concerns early, know your stop work and evacuation triggers, and also your emergency evacuation plan. And that's all.
Hey, good job. That's spoken like a true DP nerd there.
I did a lot of research beforehand.
Good job. Good job. Where'd you find those incidents?
IMCA.
IMCA?
Yeah.
IMCA incident reports? Yeah, they're
Yeah.
good. Well, good. Well, I think that is all we have for this week. Good job, Angel. Good job, Ashley. And I hope everyone has a good weekend and be safe.
Happy Friday.
That wraps up another episode of Maritime in America. We're proud to highlight the voices and stories that keep the American offshore industry strong. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us, and remember, the course ahead is shaped by those who step up and steer. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your crew. Tune in every Friday for your offshore briefing, and don't miss our next full episode, dropping soon with a very special guest, Mariner's Perspective. Catch you next time.